This week on Charger Bulletin News, possible bomb threat shut down Harugari Hall. A discussion about the war in Ukraine, and an educational conversation regarding the current happenings of injustice towards women in Iran, here on Charger Bulletin News. Hello, and welcome back to Charger Bulletin News. I'm Valentina Ortiz-Elian.
And I'm Catherine Dennehy. Let's jump into this week's stories.
Breaking news. This past Wednesday, October 5th, the University of New Haven released a message to all students regarding a possible bomb threat being investigated in Harugari Hall, located next to South Campus Hall. In the message, Ronald Quagliani, the university's Associate Vice President of the Department of Public Safety, stated, quote, "There has been a report of a bomb threat received via social media for Harugari Hall," end quote. The email then continued, stating, quote, "This threat is currently being investigated by the university police with support from our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners," end quote. Later in the evening, a follow-up email was sent to all students informing them that their search had concluded with, quote, "nothing of a suspicious nature being found," end quote. The university opened Harugari Hall to resume as normal beginning the following day, October 6th. No more information has been released at this time. Now let's head back to the desk.
Next Wednesday at 5 p.m., the history program is holding a discussion about the happenings in the war between Russia and Ukraine. The conversation, which is being called "How Did We Get Here and Where Are We Headed? The War in Ukraine," is meant to educate the student population with information regarding what is currently happening in Ukraine. With the topic of the war losing its once prosperous news coverage on social media, we must, as a nation, remain vigilant on the conflicts occurring worldwide. Leading the conversation will be Associate Professor Bradley Woodworth, who works within the university's history program, along with graduate student in European and Russian Studies, Yevgeny Monastyrsky, who graduated from Yale University. Monastyrsky is a native of Luhansk, Ukraine. The conversation will be held in person in Gearing Hall, room 301.
Also next Wednesday, October 12th at 5 p.m., Dean Ophelia Rowe Allen and the Dean of Students Office are inviting the campus community to participate in a conversation via Zoom with the intent of educating the community further on what is taking place in Iran. In the email, Dean Rowe Allen stated, quote, "I'm writing to invite you to attend an important Courageous Conversation series event titled Women, Life, Freedom, Iranian Women's Fight for Liberation," end quote. Currently, protesters are being held throughout the country of Iran due to outrage over the death of 22-year-old Masha Amani, who was detained allegedly violating the country's Islamic dress code. Around the world, protesters have taken a stance in support for the women in Iran, many by removing or burning their hijabs or by cutting their hair. Joining Dean Rowe Allen is Dr. Sylvia Marsan-Sackley. Dr. Marsan-Sackley is a history professor from Fairfield University who is, quote, "one of 85 professors nationwide to receive prestigious national endowment for the Humanities Fellowship to pursue her advanced research in Middle Eastern history," end quote. Join both Dean Rowe Allen and Dr. Marsan-Sackley in discussing this very important topic and showing your support for the women in Iran.
Now let's head over to Sadie Frazier-Reed with this week's entertainment stories. What's going on in the world of entertainment this week, Sadie?
Thanks, guys. World premiere of brand new movie musical Lyle Lyle Crocodile took place in New York City this weekend. The movie, based on the children's book by Bernard Waber, is directed by Will Speck and Josh Gordon, with music by well-known composers Pasek and Paul, who also wrote projects such as The Greatest Showman and Dear Evan Hansen. The cast of Lyle Lyle Crocodile includes Constance Wu, Brett Gelman, and debut Shawn Mendes in his first feature film role. Fans and influencers were invited to the world premiere, including CBN's very own producer Stephen Ganji and me, your entertainment editor. Cast and crew of the movie made an appearance at the premiere, thanking fans for the support and for coming out to watch. Catch Lyle Lyle Crocodile in theaters near you starting on October 7th. Popular Minecraft YouTuber Dream has been creating mask content since 2014 and currently has 30.8 million subscribers. On October 2nd, Dream released a face reveal video after successfully staying behind his mask for over 8 years. Most of the internet had never heard of Dream until now, and that is due to the overwhelmingly negative reaction the creator received from his face reveal. Viewers took to the internet on all social media platforms talking about the reveal, saying things like, "Why does Dream look like a cartoon villain?" And "If I looked like Dream, I would have never revealed my face." These negative comments, as well as those defending the creator, have gained the reveal video over 33 million views and a large social media presence. Dream has not posted a new video since the face reveal, nor has he responded to any of these comments so far. I'm Sadie Frazier-Reed, and that's entertainment. Now, on to Justin Coviello with Student Life.
Calling all football fans, the Office of Graduate and International Student Life is hosting a trip to watch the Miami Dolphins take on the New York Jets for their Week 5 matchup at 1 p.m. in East Rutherford, New Jersey. For departure, students should expect to meet at Harugari Hall by 7 a.m. Students who participate in this trip are allocated one outside guest, and tickets to attend are being sold at a discounted price of $60 for students and $75 for guests, with transportation and tailgating both included. This trip is open only to graduate and international students. For any questions, don't hesitate to contact the Office of Graduate and International Student Life at their email gisl@newhaven.edu. This past Monday, October 3rd, the Myatt Center for Diversity and Inclusion held their yearly LGBTQ+ History Month flag raising and kickoff, raising a pride flag on the flagpole outside of the Marvin K. Peterson Library. Speakers at the ceremony included Assistant Director of LGBTQ+ Resources, Ian Schick, USGA's Vice President of Community, Advocacy, and Diversity, Mary Lippa, and the President of Pride Club, Liv Knight. Combining stories of both hope and harrow, the event was truly powerful, with statements of praise and calls to action leveled at the world, our nation, and our campus community. If you were not able to attend the event, this month's purpose could be surmised by Ian Schick, who commented on the topic of LGBTQ+ people existing as their full selves. They said, quote, "This month we honor that existence, that history, and that resiliency of creating the lives we want to live no matter the cost." The event concluded with announcements of a few Pride-themed events happening this month, including Out at Work, a panel about what it means to be a member of the LGBTQ+ community in the workforce, as well as a self-defense course catered to LGBTQ+ intimate partner violence, both of which occurred this Thursday, October 6th. Once again, if you were unable to make it to the flag raising, the entire occasion was filmed and uploaded to the Myatt Center's Instagram at unewhaven_MCDI, which is also where you can find announcements for future Pride-themed events. And now to sports with Chris. What happened this week?
Thanks, guys. Once again, Charger Athletics has had a packed schedule, so we'll start off with a full update on all the home games that happened this past Saturday. Charger Bulletin's Andrea Rojas has the story.
This Saturday was a busy one here on campus for Charger Athletics. In one day, women's soccer, field hockey, volleyball, and men's soccer all hosted teams for the Northeast 10 Conference. Starting at 1 p.m. was women's soccer and field hockey. At North Campus, the field hockey team continued to host, this time facing off against Franklin Pierce in a shutout 4-0 game. Graduate student Sophie Schreck once again led the charge, scoring 2 goals back-to-back in the first 4 minutes of the game. Saturday's game marked the 3rd win for the Chargers in the Northeast 10 Conference, making them undefeated thus far. Down at Kathy Zolad Field was women's soccer to host Lemoyne. The game opened up with the Chargers celebrating their senior members, but then found themselves starting a difficult match. Despite 7 shots registered, the Chargers were unable to find the back of the net, dropping the game in a 0-2 loss. At 4 p.m., the men's soccer team took to the field to host Southern New Hampshire. The Chargers started the game strong on defense, leaving the Penmen scoreless until the second half. Coming out of the half, however, the Penmen brought new offensive energy, scoring their first goal just 1 minute into the half, and a second just 3 minutes later. Southern New Hampshire found the back of the net again late in the half and maintained their lead to end the game 0-3. Back on North Campus in Charger Gymnasium, the women's volleyball team took to the court to face Lemoyne. Volleyball also started out with their own senior day, and the energy continued through the game sets. In each set, the Chargers maxed out on points, sweeping the Dolphins in a 3-0 decision. The game marked the second win for the New Haven volleyball team in the Northeast 10 Conference. That concludes the busy home game schedule for the Chargers this past Saturday. This has been Andrea Rojas, Charger Bulletin News.
On Monday, the women's field hockey team hit the field once again, hosting one more time before hitting the road on Wednesday. Tuesday's game had a mental health awareness theme, similar to how the last two games had the themes of Title IX and Pride, respectively. This game served as a break from conference play. The Chargers went up against East Stroudsburg, ranked number 2 in the most recent NCAA regional poll. New Haven had a difficult time against the Warriors, with East Stroudsburg dominating the game after early goals from both teams in the first quarter. On Wednesday, the team headed to Springfield, Massachusetts to take on American International. As the Chargers re-entered conference play, they faced a difficult back and forth with the Yellow Jackets. AIC scored early in the first quarter, and both teams went scoreless until late in the fourth. With 11 minutes to go, the Chargers took a penalty corner, resulting in a goal from Kelly Jacobson to tie the game. The field hockey team will stay on the road to face Malloy on Tuesday in Seaford, New York at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, the women's volleyball team was on the road to face AIC as well. The Chargers did well in a tight first set, but were unable to keep up with the Yellow Jackets for the next two sets, but putting up a fight in the fourth. Unfortunately, the team walked away with a 3-1 loss. Volleyball will stay on the road to face Southern Connecticut on Saturday at 3 p.m. for an out-of-conference game. You can watch the live stream on Charger Sports Network. In a very busy streak, the women's tennis team played Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday on the road. The Chargers faced AIC and walked away with a 7-0 win over the Yellow Jackets. On Sunday, the team played against Franklin Pierce, but ended the day with a 5-2 loss. And on Wednesday, the Chargers faced Adelphi and won 4-3 against the Panthers. The women's tennis team will get a break for now until they return home on Sunday to host Lemoyne at noon. The men's soccer team continues a difficult streak this season, but put up a fight against Southern on Wednesday that ended in a 5-3 loss. The team will look for a victory on Saturday when they face Lemoyne in Syracuse, New York. On Saturday, the Chargers will host once more for two games, one down at Kathy Zolad Stadium at 7 p.m. for women's soccer. Up at North, football returns to Delacamera Stadium, where the Chargers will host Pace following last week's win against St. Anselm. That's the full update on sports this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up on Sunday is a trip to Salem, Massachusetts to explore the town during its spookiest time of the year. Hosted by Scope, this trip will depart Maxie at 7 a.m. on Sunday and will begin their journey back from Salem at 4:30 p.m. Sign-ups are required and check-in is at 6:30 a.m. at Maxie Hall. If you haven't gotten the chance to experience Salem during the season, this is a perfect chance to go.
Over the past couple weeks, the Office of Residential Life and its resident assistants hosted a wide variety of building-wide programs for their on-campus residents. Each program was organized by the residential assistant staff from their respective buildings. The Celentano staff, who had an impressive 74 residents in attendance, hosted a social gathering offering their residents a chance to play some trivia, win some prizes, and get to know their RAs better. Both Bethel Hall and Gerber Hall hosted bonfire nights with outdoor activities, food, snacks, and lots of interactions with fellow staff and members of the community. The resident assistants put a lot of work into their programs. If you can, grab some friends and head over to support your RAs and have some fun.
That's all the time we have for this week.
You can check out the latest Charger Bulletin newspaper on chargerbulletin.com or in newsstands around campus.
Stay up to date by following us on social media at Charger Bulletin.
Check out our link tree for access to our podcast, Behind the Bulletin.
Until next week, I'm Valentina Ortiz-Arian.
And I'm Catherine Dennehy. Stay safe and thank you for watching.